one day in New York, when we were stationed at Griffiths, it was during the Cuban crisis, actually, and we were on a mission to refuel B-52s, and it was very hot, like 100 degrees and stuff like this, and because of our mission, we were fully loaded on the KC-135, and we taxied out to the runway, did our checklist and stuff, and the tower called and said, "Oh, the wind has shifted. Go to the other end of the runway and take off." So the runway is 2 miles long, so we taxied on down to the other end of the runway, and we redid our checklist and all that. And the tower calls, gives us clearance to take off. Winds are 8 knots, at 150 degrees or whatever. And so we started our takeoff roll, brought up full power, and away we went. One of my jobs was to do a timing check on the acceleration of the aircraft. And they said start timing, and I would check it off on my stopwatch, and then I'd call time check, and they would check their speed at that point. If it wasn't a certain level of speed, then they'd have to abort the takeoff. But it met it, everything was fine. But beyond that, we just rolled, and the speed wasn't going up. And we kept rolling, and we're past the point of return. So, and they kept rolling and rolling. The deputy commander for operations and his staff car was sitting at the end of the runway. And each runway had 1,000 foot of overrun on each end. And there was a fighter cable where the fighters can come in and catch the cable with a hook. A cable crawling across right at the beginning of the overrun. I felt the nose wheel and the main gear hit that cable when we went over onto the overrun. And there was a crane at the end of the runway, or at the end of the overrun, where they were working on runway lights. And it was down like this. And the pilot just played it cool. I mean, he did it perfectly. He just kind of eked the airplane off the ground, and we staggered into the air. If that crane had been up, we would have hit it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and we got airborne. Everything was fine. The water ran out, which gave us the extra thrust and stuff we needed. And we went on, and of course, everybody on the ground was going crazy. What's wrong? What's happening? Nothing's wrong. Everything is normal. Everything's fine. We're continuing our mission. And stuff like that. So when we come back, they had done a quick investigation, and it turned out to be a major investigation. And they determined that the tower had a wind machine, which they just regular had a wind machine up the tower, had gone 180 degrees out of phase. And instead of taking off with an 8-knot headwind, we took off with an 8-knot tailwind. And that's 16 knots of differential between what you're trying to get and what you were actually getting. So, because you count on that wind coming towards you, that 8 knots gives you the extra lift and speed. So, as a result of that and the ensuing investigations, every runway in the United States now has a windsock at each end of the runway. So the pilots can actually visually see what the wind is.
Oh, it's so funny.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
I mean, I just thought that was so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My point
also could have been much worse.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.